This is the After Party, live with Kim McAllister. Pick a couch, grab a drink, and settle into the conversation.
I wonder why my music isn't playing. I can't hear it. Can you guys? Hi, everybody. Welcome to the After Party Live. I'm going to see if I can play it one more time. There you go. Okay, now we're cooking with fire. Hi, you guys. How's it going? Welcome to the After Party Live on this Tuesday. Thank you so much for being here. Saw something in the chat that I wanted to respond to. Donald popping in saying, my wife and I went to Petaluma for the first time ever on Sunday. Very nice. Was disappointed that there were no after party billboards with my picture up. Yeah, we don't have the funding for the billboards with the After Party Live, but if I had known you were in town, I would have come and bought you a drink or an ice cream cone or something. So next time, email me and let me know you're going to come up my way. Excellent. I'm glad you enjoyed Petaluma. There's a lot of cute shops here. A lot of, it's fun to walk around downtown. A lot of really nice restaurants as well. So welcome. Glad you had a good time. Yeah. Heather had a good time at her college reunion. I've been looking at the pictures all weekend. Looks like you had so much fun. I love the jumping pictures, Heather. Glad you're home and everything is safe, because that airplane on the way home, I don't know. I'm telling you. SJ Lola, yes, Petaluma is a beautiful community. It really is. But it is Travel Tuesday, and so I want to talk a little bit about Hawaii. First, though, I will ask you, and thank you for your patience in getting started today. I really appreciate that. I would love to ask you to click the like button, if you could do that. And if you haven't subscribed, let's check it. I'm getting closer and closer to 2,000. It's kind of exciting. I'll tell you that much right now. I was at 1,949 at last check. And so currently, we are at 1,950. Woohoo! So we're inching our way closer to 2,000. Thank you to everyone who is subscribed, who is telling people about the show. I continue every day to take little snippets of the show in less than 60 seconds. So if you have the wherewithal to share them, maybe drum up a little more support and subscribership, that would be excellent. Thank you to everyone who contributes to the PayPal fund for the show. The reason the show keeps going. Huge thank you. Find it in the show description. All right, let's jump into this Hawaii situation, because I've heard a lot of kind of conflicting information. Some people say you shouldn't go. There's still a mourning. There's still things happening there, and it's not a friendly place for tourists right now. Other people say they need the tourist money. You've got to go support them. You know, it might even cost you a little bit more, but if you're trying to support the people of Hawaii, especially the people in Maui, you've got to go and you've got to show your support and spend your tourist dollars there. Well, now we have this story in SF Gate today, and I thought it was really interesting because it talks about kind of the mixed messages that a lot of people are getting about whether or not they should go to Hawaii, how they should feel about going to Hawaii, and how the people of Hawaii feel about welcoming tourists back. So the story in SF Gate is talking about how tourist numbers are declining, and how people are really uncertain about whether or not they should go. And some visitors say they're still really confused. One person telling SF Gate, after the fires, I started hearing about how the tourists were recreating near where the deaths occurred, and I can appreciate the shock, dismay, and anger, but as time wore on, the attitude was, we need your tourist dollars, but we don't really want you. There are still people asking online, is it appropriate to go to Hawaii? Is it the right thing to do? Others are saying there's a lot of anti-tourist, hate-filled commentary being made, making people apprehensive about visiting. One woman's telling SF Gate she'd been using Reddit to plan a trip, but now wants to delete her account. She said a Hawaii cousin told her the hateful comments are only on Reddit, but that's not true. I've seen them other places as well. So we know that visitor arrivals are down about 5% from a year ago. So it's a significant difference, especially on Maui. The island saw more than 206,000 visitors in March of 2024. That's down from 276,000 in March of 2023, 271,000 in March of 2019. Now, this could be because of higher prices, a lot of lodging now out of commission in Lahaina, and that means that there, uh, aren't that many places to stay anymore. There's not a lot of choices, and so I mean there are a lot of choices, but you have this whole area wiped out, and so that means that there's a lot of people trying to stay in other parts of the island that maybe before wouldn't have. So I think the worry is about whether you feel like you're welcome there or not. You know, whether you're going to go around the island, and what the attitude of your arrival there, of your being there, will feel like. I've heard people say that they have been in condos along with people that were burned out of their homes, and kind of getting the stink eye from people that are residents welcoming tourists into these hotels or condominiums that are normally tourist areas, and the residents don't want to have to deal with all the tourists. So I mean, I get it. The uh, Captivating Journeys is a tourist agency. They said they've definitely seen a decline in travel requests to Maui and Hawaii in general, and there's because of this concern about Maui during these wildfires. So they do want you to know that Maui is open except for Lahaina Town. So there are high costs of resorts there, additional fees, and mixed messaging. You hear, come, then you hear Hawaii say, don't come right now, give us time. Then you hear them say, come back, but now we're going to charge you extra fees. So I don't know. I don't know. They have these advanced reservation systems at popular tourist spots, which makes it a little more difficult to travel. But residents there are getting unhappy. They took a survey measuring resident sentiment, and it fell to its worst level since 1988. 49% said tourism brought more benefits than problems. Only. That means a lot of people think the opposite, right? I guess you could infer. So I don't know. I mean, I think you just have to be respectful and remember what they're going through and stay away from Lahaina. I had a friend who went to Maui recently and stayed in the Wailea area, like the Kihei Wailea area side. And my mom asked her, did you go by Lahaina? And she said, no, I didn't want to see it. I couldn't because it would break my heart. And I thought, why would you go there? Like, why would you go? I know a lot of people, including myself, have a connection to that place, but why would you go there and put yourself in the middle of that devastation just to see what it looks like when it's burned out? And I think that maybe that attitude, or that, let's go see the devastation, maybe that's what's making people there mad. I don't know. I think you have to be respectful when you go and just stay away from that area and be kind. It's been 10 months since the fires, and people are still uncertain, so it's going to take them some time, really, to rebuild this whole thing. A happier story about the upcoming Olympics. And there's a story that I found on KSBW, which is the NBC affiliate in the Monterey Salinas area. And they talk about age diversity shining at the Olympics with Team USA. They say they have everyone from teenagers to veterans. The ages range from 49. There's a U.S. Army and Marine Corps veteran competing in powerlifting at the Paralympics. Bobby Body is 49 years old. He said, I want to be that 95-year-old guy training with people saying, holy cow, look at that guy. I guess it's my therapeutic happy place, he said. And then you have Mina Stess, pictured here. She's an 18-year-old skateboarder. She's one of the youngest members of Team USA. And I'm proud to tell you that she's from Petaluma. They've built a whole training skateboard area for her. I think it might be in an old barn somewhere in town, but she trains here and she is from here. So Mina Stess will be there. She said, it's crazy to think about only being a teenager going to the Olympics, because I always saw the Olympics on TV thinking it would be so cool if I could go there, but never thinking skateboarding would be in the Olympics. So now that I have this opportunity, she said, it's just crazy. She started skateboarding when she was 4 years old. When she was 8, she had already won the California Amateur Skateboard League. At 13, she was a finalist in the X Games. Now she's the top-ranked American skateboarder, and she is one of the favorites to win medals this summer. So if you see Mina Stess when you're watching the Olympics, root for my Petaluma girl. What about speaking of the Monterey area, do you remember the otter on the surfboard? That looks more like a seal, I think. But there was an otter on a surfboard that in the Santa Cruz area, and he kept coming back over and over and over again and bothering the surfers there, and they would just kind of back away from the boards. They managed to move him, I think, or get him to go somewhere else. He's back again. He's back. And here's I have the video for you. He's back again, this California surfboard stealing sea otter. Yeah, check it out. There he is. He is returned. And you have these surfers that are kind of trying to distance themselves because otters can be really mean. They can attack, and especially if you're in their breeding grounds or other places. Yeah. So the otter's back. That's our animal segment for today. Didn't find a lot of animal stories today for some reason. Let's move, though, toward this seafood restaurant incident. A woman is having her third baby, and here she is holding her third baby, and she goes to the hospital because she's feeling kind of labory. And the hospital says, you're not really ready yet. We're going to discharge you. Come back when you feel like you're more ready, or come back when you have these other symptoms or whatever else. So on the way home, she and her husband go to this seafood restaurant. They think, all right, we're just going to have a little lunch here and chill out. So this was April 27th. She was 37 weeks pregnant. Her name is Elise. And she starts experiencing these consistent contractions. This is why they went to the hospital in the first place. But they say, yep, you're not in active labor. You go home and come back later. So they go for a bite to eat at Lily's Seafood Grill and Brewery in Royal Oak, Michigan. 75 degrees outside. So they decide they're going to sit out on the patio, enjoy the day. And she takes her first bite of trout Caesar salad, and then she feels her water break. And she tells her husband, water just broke. You got to go. So he runs to get the car. 2 minutes after her water broke, 2 minutes, she had a baby. That's how long it took. All the moms are going, 2 minutes? Wow. I was in labor for however many days. 2 minutes, she has her baby. Luckily, there was some retired nurses that were sitting nearby, and they untangled the baby's umbilical cord because it had been wrapped around her neck. The baby comes out purple, but ends up being okay. And by the time she calls the husband, who's still trying to get back to the restaurant from grabbing the car so they can go back to the hospital, she says, well, I had the baby. He said, what do you mean you had the baby? I just left. Yeah, had the baby. They were going to name her Danielle, but because she was born at Lily's Seafood Restaurant, they made her middle name Lily instead of Danielle. Let me see if I got that right. They named her Penelope Lily. She weighed 4 pounds, 8 ounces. She left the hospital 2 days after the birth at the seafood restaurant. So there it is, Penelope Lily. She sure is a cutie. Can you believe that? What a thing. Wild. She said, this was not what I expected. Her husband said, I'm sitting at a light, and she calls me and says, I have the baby. He's like, oh no, I can't believe I missed it. She said, don't feel bad. Just get here. So there you go. Always good for an interesting baby story. There's a man who, from birth to death, I guess we could say, who passed away, and he was responsible for writing a lot of the Disney songs that we know and love. His name is Richard Sherman, and you might not know who he is just by name, but he wrote some of the songs in Mary Poppins. He wrote It's a Small World, which right away some of you are like, oh no, not It's a Small World. Yeah. He wrote some of the songs, the memorable songs from the Jungle Book and Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. And yes, It's a Small World. Richard Sherman was 95 years old. So he and his late brother Robert won 2 Academy Awards for 1964's Mary Poppins, Best Score and Best Song for Chim Chim Cheree. They got a Grammy for Best Movie or TV Score. His Robert Sherman died in London at age 86 in 2012. So it was Richard Sherman, my apologies, Richard Sherman, the brother, who just passed away at the age of 95. So the Walt Disney Company announced that Sherman died Saturday at a Los Angeles area hospital because of age-related illness. But he affected generations of moviegoers through his magnificent, timeless songs, is what Disney says. Even today, they say the brothers' work remains the quintessential lyrical voice of Walt Disney. Their hundreds of credits as joint lyricists and composers include the films of Winnie the Pooh, The Slipper and the Rose, Snoopy Come Home, Charlotte's Web, The Magic of Lassie, their Broadway musicals, 1974's Over Here, stagings of Mary Poppins and Chitty Chitty Bang Bang in the mid-2000s. He said of his brother, something good happens when we sit down and work together. We've been doing it all our lives, practically since college. We've been working together. 23 gold and platinum albums, a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. They're the only Americans to ever win first prize at the Moscow Film Festival for Tom Sawyer, and they were inducted into the Songwriters Hall of Fame in 2005. So, pretty cool. And sorry to see them go, those wonderful old songs. So Richard Sherman passes away at the age of 95. Can we talk about the footprint? This is pretty interesting, this footprint situation. There is a footprint, a pair of them actually, called the Laetoli footprint. And it's in Tanzania. It's really the first evidence that we have of humans walking upright. Let me change the picture here. And I mean, if you think about how long this has survived, and now it's at risk. Here's a picture of the footprint, or prints. Yeah. So the prints are 3.6 million years old. These Laetoli footprints, they're made by our earliest known ancestor. They are at the Tanzania's Ngorongoro Conservation Area. And at the very southern edge of Tanzania's Serengeti Plains. And these are the oldest known footprints of our earliest human ancestors, and they're the first evidence of an upright walking hominid. But because of storms and rainfall and erosion, they're at risk of being wiped away. This site is one of 22 new projects to be funded by the British Council's Cultural Protection Fund, which protects cultural heritage at risk from conflict or the climate crisis. They say that the Laetoli footprints are at huge risk of being wiped away, and I would hate to see that happen. Hate to see that happen. It seems like, I don't know why they can't, maybe this isn't what they want to do, but why they can't slice out a really large portion of rock in this area and put them indoors in a museum somewhere. I don't know. But climate change and storms and weather and more rainfall, putting these footprints, these historic footprints at risk. You've seen churches before that are in the shape of cross. That's typical, right? Cathedrals, they always make them in the shape of a cross. Well, and I don't know if it's kind of taking religious symbolism and running with it, but there's a church in China that designers created in the shape of an ark. I would say it's prettier on the inside than it is the outside. Look at that, with a beautiful view of the mountains. Gorgeous. This church is in China, and it's really interesting looking. I mean, it kind of from the outside, it looks like it really does look like maybe a giant ship sitting on a rock, and then you see the inside and all these beautiful windows with the view of the mountains in the background. Gorgeous. Here's what it looks like from the outside, though. Kind of a little awkward, but you can tell that Noah's Ark was where they were going with this. This is a biblical archetype, fundamental in the design process, according to one of the founders of Inuse, the designers of this church. They say, as a powerful symbol for shelter and new beginnings, the Ark of Salvation, safely landed on a foundation of rock, became the crystallization point for our design. Sorry. The idea, they say, underlies all the essential architectural choices with regards to the church's nave, defining its iconic form, the color palette, and the placement at the highest point of the site. It's built on a sloped site, and it steps up a hill with a series of 4 terraces that are all granite slabs to resemble this kind of rocky outcropping. The mountain church of Julong can host 1,000 worshipers, and that's placed at the very top of the site, and it's designed to look like an abstracted arc on top of this rock-like terrace. The glass reinforced concrete panels wrap around the circular entrance atrium. It's interesting what they've done. I mean, I don't know. From all different angles, it's interesting. It looks kind of, I don't know, non-traditional from the outside, perhaps, but it's an interesting looking church. I don't know. What do you think of it? Here's another view of it from looking at the ark from the inside. You can kind of see how it looks there. But I think it's really inside the church that's the most beautiful. Usually you would sit in a church maybe and see stained glass, but in this case, to showcase these beautiful mountains, it's pretty. It's really pretty. And it's interesting as well. Cool looking building, says SJ Lola. Interesting architecture. Yeah. Sandy likes it, says it's unique. I think it's kind of cool too. I don't know. Not that I'm going to church all the time. What would Jesus think? I don't know. That's one rich church, says Wes. But it is a beautiful view. I mean, if I were there and religious, I would say, oh, it's, showcasing God's creation. Look at the beautiful mountains. I don't know what I would say. This is the first permanent church to be built in this town of Julong. This congregation used to meet in a rented shop. So this is a big deal for them to have this, not only their own church, dedicated church, but this particular church at the foot of a mountain peak. They say this now has every chance to become a religious landmark, with people coming just to see this church and making it more than just a place of worship. So, uh, they used 100,000 panes of stained glass in an earlier church, the Pink Pebble Dash Church in China. So it would be kind of along the lines with that. The mountain church, they say, offers a glimpse into what Chinese churches are poised to become, vibrant hubs essential to the city's social spatial fabric. I just think it's a cool looking building. Like it. How about cheese rolling? Are we into that? Because it's the annual cheese rolling contest, and indeed, it has happened again. They do this every year uh, on Cooper's Hill in Gloucestershire. This annual race. It's a rough and tumble race, they call it, that is notoriously dangerous, bumps and bruises, almost guaranteed. But people do it over and over again, and they have a great time with it. Check it out. Here's what it looks like. They roll down this hill. Look at them go. I don't know. Look at all the people there. They roll this wheel of cheese down a hill, and the first to get to the bottom wins the cheese. I mean, people are falling, they're slipping, they're sliding, they're rolling down the hill. Here's the winner. These people really love their cheese. Yeah. Oh, the kid winners. Look at that. Anything for the cheese. Look at this. I mean, this guy with the, sliding down on his butt, probably the most successful. Yeah. And so the cheese rolling competition is now in part of history in the books for this year. This is a story about sleep. And for a long time, some scientists thought that the whole point of sleep was to clean out our brains, was to kind of clean out the cobwebs, do a reboot and a reset, and a whole brain cleaning thing. That's the whole point of getting a good sleep at night. Well, maybe that's not so true. This whole washing waste products and toxins from the brain and cleaning the brain out being a function of sleep. Researchers in this study from the University of Oslo did this research, and they tested with mice. And they found that in the past, that maybe this supports the idea of them, sleep being for cleaning the brain. But now that's being tested. So this new study found the mouse brain clears small dye molecules more efficiently while the animal is awake than when it's asleep or under anesthesia. And that kind of turns this whole, the sleep is to clean the brain thing on its head. The glymphatic system might still cleanse the brain, but they say sleep actually shows the whole cleaning up thing down. So they looked at a system of fluid-filled channels thought to help flush waste from the brain. And that's why originally they thought that sleep was to clean the brain. And now this new research challenges that because, again, it happens more efficiently during the awake hours than it does during the sleeping hours. And so researchers can't really explain why these results are opposing each other. And it's become this heated debate that people don't, because they can't explain it. So this study, the University of Oslo scientist was looking at the two different theories of this. But this most recent research was done at the University of Rochester, where neuroscientists injected a dye into The cisterna magna, it's a fluid-filled pocket at the back of the neck that sits just outside the brain, and it supplies the brain with cerebrospinal fluid. So they used a microscope to measure the influx of dye to the brain and its spread through the organ. And the influx increased when mice were asleep or under anesthesia compared to when they were awake, allowing the dye to penetrate through the brain, which leads researchers to think more fluid is flowing through the brain and draining into the blood or lymphatic vessels while they're awake. This is interesting because this is not what they thought would happen. The researchers say, listen, we didn't set out to disprove this popular hypothesis. I liked the theory of sleep as a basic housekeeping mechanism that keeps the brain healthy and functional. Now they're thinking, well, maybe the dye wasn't really a reliable source for how this happens. I don't know. The dye was injected through portals into mice. I know, sad that they use animals to do this kind of study, because why anyway, right? The sensors revealed far less dye when the mice were awake than when they were asleep or anesthetized, suggesting these molecules are leaving the brain more quickly. This whole study is published in the Nature Neuroscience, May 13th. And it's interesting. And it kind of turns that whole thought on its head, challenging this popular theory about something as basic as sleep and why we sleep. Here's another interesting story that I found. And I guess it's interesting to me because I just didn't realize that this would be the case. But the aging is apparently tied to the communications between our organs. And this study has been done at the Washington University School of Medicine in St. Louis. And they too used mice. And they say that they looked at communication signals between animals' brains and their bodies. And they tweaked some animals. This specific group of neurons in the hypothalamus, which they say is a physiological control center deep in the brain, remained active as animals that they genetically modified got older. They say some of the neurons send signals to the animal's fat stores via the sympathetic nervous system. And the mouse fat burned lipids and secretes long-term signals that really kind of got in the way of the aging-related damage in other parts of the body, including the hypothalamus itself. And so when they modified these mice, they defied aging in several ways. The animals lived about 7% longer than the mice that weren't messed with at all. Interesting. So does that mean that aging comes down to how well our brain communicates to our organs? And does that communication slow down over time? And if we had some type of genetic modification to speed up the communication, then would we look younger, feel younger, act younger, have healthier organs, and live longer lives? That's the basis of this research. Interesting study. Founded at science.org. It's called Communication Breakdown. Faulty messaging between organs could make us old. And really, who wants to be old, right? All right, enough of me and my brain stories. How about some Travel Tuesday? Let's get to it, because it is Travel Tuesday, which, by the way, I think on last Thursday, for Trivia Thursday, instead of having the Trivia Thursday thing up, I had the Travel Tuesday thing up, and no one said a word to me. You guys are either really nice or you didn't notice either. I don't know. I'm not sure. There's a story about the world's best countries for tourism, and the list put out by the World Economic Forum. And they looked at criteria like infrastructure, natural resources, sustainability, the availability of labor, and competitive pricing as well. The study focused on tourism, the business of hotels, airports, attractions, airlines, all of these things. And they've come out, the World Economic Forum, with the top 10 countries for tourism. And so here they are. The United States coming in at number 1. Why? Well, according to the World Economic Forum, the U.S. is a mature tourism market. So it already has infrastructure in place to welcome visitors, air links connecting cities, on the ground support like tour guides, rental cars, hotel rooms, and maps. And the size and scope in the United States helps it stand out, from our national parks to our big cities to our great beaches. Beaches, not beaches, bitches, no, beaches, what? There's a variety, they say, of big offerings for travelers. So the United States, number 1 country for tourism, according to the World Economic Forum. Spain is number 2, followed by Japan, France at number 4, Australia number 5, Germany 6, 7 the United Kingdom, 8 is China, 9 Italy, and 10 Switzerland. So those are the top 10 countries in the world, according to the World Economic Forum, for tourism. So there you go. But we're focusing on beaches today. That's right. The top 10 beaches for 2024 are out. This, according to Dr. Beaches. Dr. Beaches has out with his list, and Hawaii tops this list. So we kind of start with Hawaii and end with Hawaii as well. And that's okay, because I really love Hawaii very, very much. But there are so many beautiful beaches in Hawaii. Let's go back to Oahu for just a moment. So, so pretty. I feel like Waikiki is really, really touristy and maybe not a beach I would select. But according to Dr. Beaches, the 50th state has the most entries on the top 10 list. They have 3 of the top 10. So you got to island hop to hit all 3. But the top beach for 2024, according to Dr. Beaches, is Duke Kahanamoku Beach in Oahu, Hawaii. It's down toward the end, so it's not Waikiki Beach, but it's still really, really packed often. Kind of down toward, not quite in front of Diamond Head, but right more kind of in front of the green area you see there. Duke Kahanamoku Beach, the top beach for 2024. The next one is Cooper's Beach in Southampton, New York. That's number 2. And then at number 3 is Wailea Beach in Maui. And that is so beautiful. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, Wailea Beach, gorgeous. That whole side of the island is so, so pretty. It's the surf, I think, is a little more rough in that area. At least that's always how it's felt to me. But it's such a beautiful area. So here's a picture of Wailea Beach in Maui. And it again comes in number 3 on the list of the best beaches in the world for 2024. And again, this is Dr. Beach's list. But here's a look at this at sunset. So pretty. There's Wailea Beach. It's pretty nice. Not gonna lie. Yeah. Number 4 on the list is Kalidesi Island State Park in Clearwater, Florida. So Wes can go check that out. Kalidesi Island State Park in Clearwater, Florida. Number 5, Beachwalker Park in South Carolina. That's number 5. Number 6, Main Beach in East Hampton, New York. And here we have another beach at number 7 in Hawaii. We're back to Hawaii again. And this is Poipu Beach. And this is on the island of Kauai. It's really beautiful. And it is one of the best beaches. It's now, well, it's number 7 on the list. I've always thought this, though. Beautiful beach. The waters on Kauai do seem rougher to me just because of how the island is situated, but there's really no denying that Poipu Beach is gorgeous. Here's a picture of it. Great snorkeling, lots of sand. So pretty. Poipu Beach in Kauai, number 7 on the list. Daner Wiggins Pass State Park in Naples, Florida at number 8. Delner Wiggins Pass State Park in Naples, Florida. 8th best beach in the U.S. 9, Coast Guard Beach in Cape Cod, Massachusetts. Coast Guard Beach in Cape Cod, Massachusetts. And the 10th best beach in America, not the world, if I misspoke, I'm sorry, is Coronado in the San Diego area. So that's easy for us to get to. We could go check that out. There it is. That's number 10 on the list. Pretty good list from Dr. Beaches. Duke Kahanamoku, Coopers, Wailea, Calabasas in Florida, Beach Walker in South Carolina, Main Beach in New York, Poipu in Kauai, Delner Wiggins Pass State Park in Naples, Florida, Coast Guard Beach in Cape Cod, Massachusetts, and Coronado Beach in San Diego. So there you have it. A little bit of beach love for us on this Travel Tuesday. All right. Huge after party aloha to everyone who contributes to this show. You are so appreciated. Please click the like button if you can. I really appreciate that. And subscribe to the show as well. Great Nikki Maduro show tomorrow. 10 a.m. that show will begin. And then at 11, we get Mark Thompson and we have John Rothman and we have Belinda Weymouth with It's the Planet Stupid. It's going to be a good show as well. And then we're right back here for the After Party Live. Thank you so much for spending time today with me. Deidre says I'm going to be back on Maui beaches for 10 days next month. Yay! That's wonderful. Beth says, yeah, Coronado's pretty and all. I'd rather be in Hawaii. Yeah, lovely beaches. So wonderful. All right. Have a great rest of your day. Make it a really, really good one. And I'll see you back here on the old YouTube. And that's tomorrow. Bye, everybody.
The After Party Live would like to thank the following contributors and viewers like you.